Hey everyone, it's Kalina, and after 2 long years, we finally have the next season of Bridgerton. Even though I haven't watched it yet while recording this voiceover. The fantasy romance that's currently making waves like vampires did back in 2010 is fairies. And I know a lot of people say that they're tired of this subgenre, but the Bridgerton style blends really well with the fairy romance genre, and I'm actually one of those people who enjoys it. So, for those who haven't seen or don't know what Bridgerton is, it's a period drama series on Netflix. It's set in Regent's era London, and each season has one main couple that has drama, romance, and some really beautiful aesthetics. If you're not a fan of romance, I would say to give it a try if you like art, because the outfits and the backgrounds, it's top tier. I didn't record the initial sketch because I honestly didn't think it would work out. My original idea was to just do a lineup, but it didn't seem interesting enough at the time. However, it turned out to be a fun challenge to try to recreate the composition and lighting from the original posters. When I started designing them, I wanted the characters to have some other fantastical elements of nature besides the classic pointed ears. So initially I thought about using horns because they always look cool and they are a nod to Jude. But then I took inspiration from her surname, Featherington. I decided on feathers, which I incorporated into various parts of the design to make her less generic fae. I really liked how it turned out in the end. I also modified the bows a bit and added a pen. Given that this is a fantasy version, I thought the pen itself could be a magical element, which ties in well with its significance in the original story, where Penelope is a secret writer. I kept the lines with minimal variation because I aimed to recreate an animation aesthetic. I have some heavy inspiration from the artist Eos Paint from Instagram. I really hope I'm saying her name right. But her drawings of A Court of Thorns and Roses and Throne of Glass is just amazing, and it really feels like it's going to start moving any moment because it looks so much like a screenshot from a frame. Colin's design ended up being quite similar. I only added a cape to enhance the classic fairy prince vibe. Since his character loves to travel, I thought this would suit him well, like a traveler's cape too. To stay true to the original design, I resisted the temptation to make him look more like a traveler with a more worn cape. Drawing his hair was one of the most enjoyable parts because its curly, intricate shape added a lot to the fantasy prince and fairy aesthetic. One cool detail I hadn't noticed before I started coloring it was how his outfits includes some of her colors too, particularly in the greenish details on the vest underneath, which helped me make the palette more cohesive, and it really gives this vibe that they are connected, which is perfect because their entire season is about best friends to lovers. I decided to change the reflection where he was in the original having his arm around her waist to reflect her true appearance, let's say. Besides fitting the fantasy theme with feathers and wings, it also matched her arc this season as she discovers herself and explores her secret persona as lady we saw down. I might even be an analogy to her gaining her own freedom with her own wings, let's say. I made some adjustments outside of Procreate with different tones of color and light, so unfortunately that is not recorded, but I think it's important to say this is a crucial part of the process. Analyzing your art the next day or asking for someone else's perspective. After staring at the same drawing for hours, in this case almost 3 hours, you stop seeing it clearly. I was dissatisfied with something, even if I couldn't really say what it was. I knew I had to maintain some simplicity to replicate the animation vibes, but the artwork still felt unfinished. So after asking my boyfriend that was actually seeing the picture for the first time, he made some observations that were exactly the things that was bothering me. The color of the curtain that was behind them was a little off, kinda taking the attention because it was a little bit too saturated. And when you're painting a scene, it's extremely important to know where you want the audience to look first, and in this case it's definitely the characters first and not the curtains first. And he also suggested to make the lines colorful and not black, so it would be less harsh. I always like to do this with full illustrations, but I thought that in this case painting the line art might take away from the animation style that usually has a pure black lines, but it ended up bringing an incredible amount of life to the piece. Maybe I'm trying to do some screen caps redesigns next, and I think it would be really cool to try to make them with this fantasy vibe. So let me know if you guys would be interested in that. So this is the final design. I hope you guys like it. So my advice is start taking some nice criticism and stop looking at your art.